Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, austere religious scholar at the helm of Islamic State, dies at 48. Well, that's one for the scrapbook. You can file with other memorable headlines from history. Goal-oriented German leader with distinctive mustache found dead in bunker. Joseph Stalin, former seminarian and movie buff, dies peacefully at 74. Osama bin Laden, husband to 5, killed in home invasion. So what is this about? Well, ultimately, you're watching the flailing of a leadership class that despises the country it governs. They loathe the elected president so much they're incapable of acknowledging any accomplishment, no matter what it is. Trump is bad. Trump killed Baghdadi. Therefore, killing Baghdadi was bad. That's how these purported geniuses actually think. They are purely reactive about everything, not just the death of terrorists. These are the very people who sat by idly as our entire middle class died. And then China rose to take America's place as leader of the world. And virtually alone among political figures, Trump noted these things. Hey, what's going on, he said. He ran on those issues, and he won. And in response to that, rather than learn something, our leadership class took the opposite side. They took the side of the fentanyl smugglers from Mexico. They took the side of our mortal enemies and the fascist government of China. Those are not positions you would take if you cared about your people. But at this point, it's pretty obvious they hate Trump far more than they love America. Piers Morgan is watching all of this from across the oceans. He's editor-at-large for DailyMail.com, a Brit, but a keen observer of all things America. He joins us tonight. So what do you, Piers, I know that you're not actually in agreement with the president on a lot of things, but assess, if you would, the response from our press to this latest announcement.
Well, just to clarify, Tucker, I am this side of the ocean, actually. I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm here.
Even better.
And I was watching the World Series last night, and my mind went back to when Osama bin Laden was killed, and I was in New York City that night. And I remember the reaction. I remember the reaction from everybody. There was widespread jubilation throughout New York, throughout Washington, throughout America. This was a unified response from a country jubilant at seeing the end and the grisly demise of the leader of Al-Qaeda. Compare and contrast the reaction yesterday to the demise of Baghdadi, who I would argue, legitimately I think, has committed even worse atrocities than bin Laden. He may not be as emotive a name, but certainly the work done under his name of ISIS has been barbaric, despicable, heinous on any level. And his death should have been a moment to celebrate a brilliant operation by American armed forces, a courageous and bold order to conduct the mission from the President of the United States, and a moment for America to show the world that when they said they'd get tough with terrorism, they meant it. And this should have been a moment to plant the flag firmly, or the American flag, on that stamp of we will not tolerate terrorism. But instead, the stamp has become, let's just boo the president at the World Series. Let's have thousands of Americans responding to his decision to conduct that mission and to order it. Let's respond by booing him. Let's lock him up. Now, whatever you think of Trump, and there's no middle ground with him, as we know. You love him or you hate him. But the office of the presidency deserves more respect than I saw last night, particularly in light of what had happened a few hours earlier. There is no comparison, Tucker, between Donald Trump and Baghdadi. Baghdadi ran an organization that liked to burn people alive in cages, that liked to throw gay people off rooftops, that liked to kidnap and rape thousands of women, that like to eliminate vast swathes of their rival Muslims, that bombed and massacred and shot their way around the world, committing appalling atrocities against people in Paris, in Nice, in London, killing kids, going to pop concerts, running people over on the promenade in Nice. Let's not forget what this guy was. So yesterday should have been a great day for America and a great day for the world. Instead, the narrative is, let's try and find where Trump went wrong in the way he spoke about this. Let's try and find a way that makes Trump look bad. And by doing that, the message sent to the world is, America is bad. This isn't a good day. This is a bad day. I don't get it. How does it help anybody?
I don't either, but it's worth figuring out what's going on here because it's almost like a Rorschach blot. I mean, again, I just want to say for our viewers, you've had many disagreements with Trump. So it's not, you're not a Trump acolyte or a suck-up in any sense at all, but you see this happen and your first reaction is, well, of course that's a good thing. But there are a lot of people here in Washington to whom that wasn't clear. So what does that say about them?
I was on Twitter as rumors were bubbling about what this was when President Trump did his tweet saying something big has just happened. And people were beginning to guess it might be Baghdadi. And in that moment, I already saw the reaction from what I would call the more deranged liberals of America, boiling themselves up, not in jubilation of what had happened, but in fury that somehow Trump may have done something right, that he may deserve some legitimate credit. And that was simply unconscionable. They were not going to allow that to happen. And the narrative has played out ever since this, has not been, as I say, what it should be, which is the destruction. And by the way, I take great pleasure in celebrating the death of Baghdadi. This is one of the worst terrorists in modern times.
That is true.
I am glad he's gone. And actually, I quite enjoyed the gory details that the president gave us about that sniveling coward's last few seconds on this earth. I did enjoy it because I want him gone. I want him to stop maiming and killing people. So let's put that on the record. But what does it say about these liberals, these so-called liberals? I don't think they are liberals, Tucker.
There's nothing
They're
liberal
what I call
about them.
illiberal liberals.
Exactly
they stand
right.
for the complete antithesis of liberalism. They don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in tolerance or fairness or anything. They just believe right now in screaming at anyone that doesn't fit their narrow worldview and their narrative of events. And when that is applied to something like the death of Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, it is a shocking moment. I thought last night, frankly, was shameful. I thought the thousands of Americans who thought that was the right way to respond shamed themselves and they shamed their country.
I think that's exactly right. Piers Morgan, thank you for that. Good to see you.
Good to see you.